Is that a separate group from Bud Lores?
Yeah, so this little downtown coalition, I guess you can call it, is myself, Paul Valenti, Paul Messina, Valenti, Glazing Confuses,
Yeah.
Messina,
Yeah.
Pisa, David Hoynes, Kitty
Yeah.
Hoynes, Karen from Possibilities, Chris Biley from OGXO, and Andy from Andy's Produce.
Okay. Yeah, Andy and all of those except for Karen have been on pretty much everything that I've seen or been involved with.
Yeah, we're just trying to get as many people involved as possible. I know there's another group with Bud and Jason from Now and Later. Jason's been doing some great stuff. Some of the call to actions and letters that he's written the governor have been pretty spot on so far.
Did these text groups exist before COVID?
No,
No,
I mean some of them might have.
but it wasn't like everybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I know Paul and I, Messina and I have been friends for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
He's been become a great buddy of mine and good friend. Good support for each other. This industry's hard enough
Yeah.
without our state and local government.
So
Well, I shouldn't say local government. Our local government's been great, but our state government harassing us.
I want
You
people
hear
to
that?
know
Yeah.
what it's really like right now,
Yeah.
because not a lot of people in our area are.
Oh, they're clueless.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're clueless.
And Valenti and I talk like it's danger. It's a fine line for a business owner to post on Facebook right now what it's really like,
Yeah.
because I feel like once you kind of cross over a certain threshold, the public is just like, all right, they're dying. I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I try not to worry too much about how other people's businesses are doing. I mean, obviously, you don't want anybody to fail.
Right.
But like we were just talking about, this business is tough enough already.
You didn't get in this to make
And
millions.
now it's extra difficult. So
Yeah.
trying to make sure my ship doesn't sink is my number one priority.
Yeah.
But what I do like about what this group has done is we're kind of with the support of the local government. I know we were just talking about Mayor Walsh. He and County Executive McMahon. We've been on conference calls with them. We are kind of teaming up in a way that I haven't seen here before. I know I've talked with you before about being from Philadelphia, and I saw kind of a tighter knit community amongst chefs there. I wasn't a restaurant owner there, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak to the places that I did work. I did see other restaurant owners coming in, being friendly. Here, I haven't really gotten that vibe as much. I just said, I struck a friendship with Paulie from Pisa, so and I do have some other friends, Cody from DeFee and Rich from Eden, and there is a knit group of us for sure. But as a whole, I haven't really seen it. I never met some of these owners before, and I'm the new guy on the block, of course. But we're going on our third year, so that's not even the case so much anymore either.
I was just talking to Tim at Buried Acorn, and we're doing the show I was telling you about, and he was like, I was like, in my head, I'm immediately going to like dollars, like, all right, you wanna get a sponsorship on YouTube, or I was like, so what do you? It's like, why are you guys doing this? Is to get more customers, sell more beer? He was like, dude, we just got to have something fun to do. And he was like, and I would caution you, don't hang out with or talk to very often business owners that are alone. He was like, they're really fucking depressed right now.
Yeah.
He was like, he's like, I make sure that I'm, surrounded by people who are like, have a family or have a close group of friends or something.
Yeah.
It's like, as people that are home, like by themselves, like not married, not tied down, no close group, don't have a tight circle, and are going through this, are super depressed.
Oh, it's brutal. I know, just I won't, name names or how I know them, but talk to some people that are in that situation that are working in this industry. So you don't have a job right now if you're in downtown. Don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend. Living that bachelor life. I mean, I was doing it when I was their age.
Yeah.
I was in my mid to late 20s. I was working as a bartender or chef in Philly. I worked 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I could.
Right.
I worked every shift I could, either chef or a bartender. just live that single life, make that money, have fun, party hard, play hard,
Yeah.
But I can't imagine. I mean, I have a 2-year-old and my wife. My in-laws are close, plus Jesse and I still see each other almost every day.
Yeah.
My sous chef, Jesse, for those of you who don't know who he is. I feel lucky in that regard right now. What I don't feel lucky about is that I'm doing a podcast with you on New Year's Eve. I mean, I love you, and I want to do this with you all the time. I'll sit here and drink and bullshit with you every day, all day.
Right.
But I should be getting my ass handed to me right now. I should be panicking about having only 2 of my 4 specials prepped, and lunch was too busy, and I knew I should have closed for lunch. I mean, I feel like that's what happens every New Year's. Like, I knew I shouldn't have opened for lunch, but I did because I didn't think it was going to be that busy. And then we got our butts kicked, and,
Why not open tonight?
Because our governor Cuomo is putting us in the orange zone. He put downtown Syracuse in the orange zone. We're not exactly sure why, quote unquote. I mean, we know why. He didn't. He felt like it was a bad idea for downtown to be open for the holidays. They're supposed to be done on these metrics and whatnot. Show me the numbers. I mean, where downtown does not meet those numbers. I know my spot alone, just a rough estimate, over 7,000 people we served between June and November. Well over. This is not including takeout. This is just a rough estimate on dine-in numbers through. So when you come in with 3 of your friends or 2 of your friends, our servers are supposed to put, table 12 is 3 people,
Gotcha.
3 guests. So our POS keeps track of that. And we had 0 cases traced.
Yeah.
So, and I know with talking with the restaurant group that I was telling you about, who were kind of banded together these last couple months to really fight for 13202 zip code to get back into yellow zone at bare minimum. We've all pulled our numbers and looked at how many people we've served between us and the few amount of cases that can be traced to us. And it's appalling, that we're still in orange zone, still not open. We all want to be safe, and we all want, of course, a lot of times our customers are like family. They become friends or family, and of course our employees are like family. So we don't want to get anybody sick, but we all believe that we could serve people safely, just like they do 5 miles down that way or that way, or
right.
it's why is downtown closed? It's not like people are going to stop going out.
No. There is I won't say names of how I know these people, but person A and person B. I have a little bit more if there's some left.
Oh, there is. We got the KBS Mackinac Fudge. Have you had that yet?
No.
Do you like stouts?
Yes and no. I don't like really sweet stouts.
You won't have a problem with this one because it's 12%er, so the sweetness goes right away. Give her some character.
Person A and person B go out to dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
They're friends. So person B drives to person A's house. They both get in person A's car. They drive 20 minutes to go to the restaurant. Sit at the bar for 45 minutes, waiting for a table, having a glass of wine.
Must be nice.
Sit down at the dinner table, have dinner together, get back in person A's car, drive back to person A's house, hang out for a little bit. Person B goes back home. 2 days later, person A tests positive for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Person B has to get, through contact tracing, person B has to get tested. Negative. Not, tests negative. Twice, actually. Not just once, but twice. Mm-hmm. Test negative twice.
Yeah.
And not a rapid test, which they say isn't really that as accurate as it.
The old ones weren't. The newer ones are much better.
Yeah. So, test negative twice.
Wow.
Waitress at the restaurant that served them test negative.
Right.
Nobody else test positive that they were anywhere near.
Yeah.
It was in a crowded restaurant. It was a restaurant that has 50% off their menu on the night that they were there. Mm-hmm. So they're fucking packed.
Yeah.
And that restaurant is in no zone.
Yep.
They're not in a yellow zone.
Right.
So they were slammed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else tested positive.
Yeah. It's so I don't know. Everything's just trying to stay positive, and I know the rest of us are doing it, but it's just
I get that.
I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's just us.
And you've pivoted too.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
I mean, let's just be clear. When you say that, it's not like you've sat on your ass.
Oh no, we've never closed.
Yeah, exactly.
The first time we didn't even shut down for one extra day.
Right.
We changed our hours.
Yeah.
We closed on Mondays just because I went down to just Jesse and I and a couple other, support staff.
Yeah.
We have a couple front of house people still working. I mean, a shell of what they were working before.
Yeah.
Where my lead server, Danny, my manager and lead server, one of my top guys who unfortunately, about 6 months ago left his second job just to come full time with us because he was making great money. During weekends on Walton, we were just getting crushed on the weekends. That upped our, people, we still hear it. We're still young. Oh, I never knew you were here, all the time.
Right.
And then once they see too that it's not packaged noodles or just noodles, there's so much more on the menu.
Right.
They, that's where we start really gaining the repeat customers. We're still, even though we're 2 years old and some change, we still sit around 60% return customers out of
awesome.
Out of our return. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's great. We have the best customers ever. But these people are now they're losing everything. They have nothing. And why? How is it? How can you go to tonight? The Craftsman, I'm sure they're booked.
Yeah,
good for them.
Right.
We want everybody to do well, but make it even. Why are we still closed? It's really what we're trying to figure out, and we get no answers. We get no answers from the state. We get in touch with the local politicians, state and local, and they, everybody's sympathetic, and we keep hearing the same song and dance. Oh, we feel terrible, this and that. But what can be done? Nothing, because it's one person that has the say, and we know what's going on there.
I was able to be a fly on the wall for a Zoom call with Congressman John Katko and like 20 restaurant owners, and then the Zoom call with County Executive Ryan McMahon and Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh and like 20 restaurant owners.
Yep.
And they were all asked the same thing. Why are we orange? Can you help us get out of it? And all of them said the exact same thing. It sucks. I'm sorry. I'm more than happy to get on the phone and listen to you and, be an ear for you to complain to. But the only person that is going to do anything or that can do anything is Governor Cuomo, and he's not listening to anybody.
I mean, we can't even get a pick up on the phone.
Yeah.
We can't,
I mean, Cuomo, I'm sure that's an aggressive statement, but when the governor is dealing with like his own city in Albany, which I'm assuming is an orange zone. I know Buffalo and Rochester and obviously New York City are shut down. He doesn't give a shit about Syracuse. You don't write a book and release it and get
on how great he's doing
during quarantine, during COVID,
and he's killing whatever.
It's
funny because you fall into these anger fits. I don't know how you're going to call it depression, because I'm not depressed. Yeah. I'm angry. But you try to stay positive so we can try and initiate some change, because calling and screaming is not working, or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So you just try and figure out ways that you can get it to work. So we're trying to show, hey, look, between these 6 restaurants, we served 130,000 people from June till November. Well, the virus didn't go anywhere. Sure, we're having a worse surge now, but these knee-jerk zone reactions to, oh my God, put it on orange, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's 17 counties right now that are in the yellow zone, or 17 yellow zones that are higher than our orange zone.
Yeah. And they're still open for yellow.
Right.
So they can see.
They were supposed to get, and again, we don't want anybody shut down.
Right.
We want all of us open equally. If we have to do these yellow zone restrictions, fine. If that's what's going to keep people healthy, if they think the air filtration systems will help, we're all here to do it, fine, well, and dandy. But give people the damn choice, and not to mention that. But what is this going to have? What are the ramifications going to be down the road for downtown? Because right now, I don't care whether you're smart, whether you drink the Kool-Aid, whether you don't drink the Kool-Aid, everybody's starting to get this. Is what you're doing is you're putting this thought into people, downtown's not safe, and we've been fighting for years to get that thrown away.
Yeah.
You know, when I first came up here, I would hear that and I'd be like, what are these people talking about? I'm from Philly. I'll talk about areas that aren't safe. I'll take you on a walk, you know,
Philly's a city
5 minutes any direction.
Yeah.
Good luck, you know. And you come up here and, you know, our downtown's gorgeous. There's no trash everywhere. I mean, it's a great spot.
Yeah.
And we have younger entrepreneurs and investors and restaurateurs that are trying to diversify our food scene. Another thing you've heard when I first came up here, everybody's the same. There's, you know, you have Kitty Hoyne's Possibilities are the standouts downtown, and Dinosaur and Apisa, you know, within the last 5 years, he just hit 5 years, you know, but other than that, you don't hear anything. But now you have the York, you have us, you have Defeat, Eden, you know, it's really starting to hit a stride that's awesome. 3 Lives just is trying to open, right. Trying to survive. You know, you have these younger, 40 under 40 is a big thing in this town. You know, I'm under 40, John's under 40, right. Rich, all of us were in that age demographic where you want to see growth come into the city to complement Possibilities and Hoynes, because let's face it, you don't want people just coming in for pastas and Hoynes or pastas and you know, I drawing a blank of who else might draw, Al's or Tusk, you know, Maxwell's, right. You want more and more diversity downtown to keep drawing people to build the culture that we're building. Yeah. Look at Kasai. We have every 3 months we have a different art show in there featuring all local artists who maybe didn't have the avenue to reach a couple thousand people a week, which you will get being at our place. Yeah. You know, it's just another music. All the musicians are being affected. So this thing is going well beyond that, and I think it's going to last, and we need to figure out a way that we can say, hey, this is all bullshit. Downtown is not any more dangerous than it is in Eastwood or Liverpool or Fayetteville or DeWitt. It's just not. And there's no numbers to prove it. But the mainstream media and governor's office, and it's putting out, whether they're doing it intentionally or not, they're putting out the message that downtown is dangerous right now. You can't go inside.
Yeah, I think it's, and I don't even know if it's, I mean, yes, it is specifically in this case downtown. Mm-hmm. I think I have a joke that if somebody's going to start blabbering at me about all the things about COVID, which, you know, my joke is that I just, once they're done talking, I just say to them, well, that's if you believe it's real or not. And they usually walk away. I 1,000% believe COVID is real. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who, I mean, my brother got it back in the early days, you know. I mean, back in, you know, early March, he got it. And he's fine, and he was like one of the first people to donate plasma after he recovered, and he's down in New York City. But I have friends who are like the poster child for, if you get COVID, you will die. You know, like severely overweight, pre-existing heart condition, asthma, like everything is pointing to you will die immediately. Mm. Flu-like symptoms for a day, they're fine. And then I have a friend in Arizona who is relatively healthy, other than the fact that they're slightly overweight, but no medical history, no pre-existing conditions, anything like that, gets it, and 3 days later drops dead.
Oh, God.
So I see, like, the whole gamut of it, right?
Yeah.
And we all have. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember talking to my brother Robert back in early March, and he was like, yeah, I heard on the news that, you know, by the time this is all done, everyone in America will know someone who got it. I mean, it's crazy to think how far things have come.
Yeah.
But having said that, it is new, and granted, we've been living this for 9 months, and granted, it is dangerous, and it has killed hundreds of a ton of people, right? I think that number's over 100,000 that have died from COVID-19 in America. Maybe it's global, I don't know, but a lot of people have died from it. It's a very serious thing, and we need to be concerned about it. But it's not like going out in public is going to guarantee that you get COVID-19 and that you guaranteed die from it.
Right.
And the fear mongering that exists around it in the media that's
driving these knee-jerk policies.
Yeah, it's without a doubt driving these knee-jerk policies.
It's fear-mongering, and yes, no, we're not trying to say that COVID-19 is not dangerous. Right. My wife's a nurse practitioner in a cancer unit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, we know what it can do. She's seen it drop people who are in their 30s and healthy. Right. I mean, it's terrifying. But we live in America. You cannot tell me that I can't operate my business.
Especially when your business is about to shut down.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. This is unconstitutional to the umpteenth degree. And that's why we're seeing some of these cases in California and New York start to win. Because you can't do it. You really should not be able to do it. And it makes my blood boil. Yeah. I mean, yes, this is very dangerous, but we can safely serve our people. And you know what, Anthony? If you want to go out downtown, you should friggin' be allowed to. Doesn't matter what's going on. Mm-hmm. The frickin', Russians could be invading. You should be allowed to go where you want to go. That's an extreme. Yeah. But seriously, that's why we have a constitution. Yeah. That's why we have a Bill of Rights. I'm no constitution lawyer, but a lot of these cases are winning. Look at Staten Island, Max Pub. He's open right now. Across the streets in the yellow zone, he's in an orange zone. All these, you saw how many times he got arrested. Long drawn out case. He just won in court.
The challenge is though I don't know what kind of money they had, but the challenge is the funding, the money that it takes to actually proceed to court and sue an entity like the state of New York.
Well, apparently there's, and I don't want to speak too much on this because I'm not too well versed in what's going on, but there are some rumbles of a group of lawyers. You pay $500 per restaurant. So let's say I had 3 restaurants, 3 Kasais, still only be $500. So one group, you pay $500, you jump on the lawsuit, and they're rolling through. It's part of the group that's done with Buffalo. Now, again, I can't really. Maybe we want to edit out the details of that, but there is.
We'll just say that we don't know everything about it.
Yeah, I don't know everything about it, but there are lawyers out there who want to help because they're probably their favorite restaurant shut down. Yeah, and like you said earlier, we did pivot. The first one we had, sales were obviously down, but it wasn't too big of a hit because we pivoted. We did some fun things. Jesse and I have a very diverse background in food and culinary styles, so we were able to just have some fun, which we do at Kasai anyway. Yeah. Most of the time, people don't realize that, or maybe don't know it, but we have fun like that anyway. I didn't open a restaurant to stick to one style. Yeah. We play and have a lot of fun. And then, but this time now, sure, you said, but you pivoted. Yeah, but again, 5 minutes down the road in any direction of our restaurant, you can go down and sit and eat. And if you want to go out for dinner, why would you sacrifice going to be able to go sit down and have that experience? Because let's put it, we're all selling an experience. Yeah. Of course, we're selling food. Yes, strip it down to the bare bones. We're selling food and drink. But really, you're selling an experience. I didn't need a 150-seat restaurant for Kasai. I didn't. It was originally going to be a fast casual concept. A couple booths, maybe some bars. Where you could come, pull up, sit, much like you see in Japan and New York City. Yeah. That was the original goal. But I walked into that space. It was a shell of what it is now, and it was still under construction, and I fell in love. I thought of the experience. I thought of, oh, my God, I could do more than ramen. Yeah. That's why we have that hashtag, not just ramen. But I thought I could do more. I could do more here. I could push the boundaries of what you would expect in a ramen restaurant, while still focusing on ramen. But that's what we're doing. We're selling the experience. When my wife and I are lucky enough to get a chance to go out, and it's not often we own a restaurant and we have a 2-year-old, but, we go to places that we really enjoy the atmosphere as well as the food. Yeah. It's just So to compete with that and only have takeout, that limits us to, if you want Kasai, you're going to get it because we're still open and you can get it, but you're going to have to eat it at home or in your car or at your friend's house. Yeah. Which is where the problems are existing with transmission. People are still going to get together. They're still going to have fun.
So we had a great year. I mean, for Eat Local, we had, at the beginning of quarantine, we had, there was a lot of restaurants that had never done marketing before or paid somebody to do marketing before. All of a sudden, we're doing it. Like, we're looking for people to hire.
You would think with everything that was going on that they'd want to not do that, not spend the money.
Because they were freaking
That's interesting.
out. Yeah. And there was a couple people that I had talked to, tried to pitch in the past, and they were like, no, we're good. And then all of a sudden, like, March 1st, I'm getting calls like, hey, can you come out here and do it?
Wow.
So we took on one new client. Went great. They had a killer year. Just met with them today. It's hard if you haven't been doing marketing. If you haven't been doing anything to then all of a sudden start doing something, especially pay to play, which is what I do for our clients. It works. They usually shoot through the roof right in the beginning, and then it starts to taper off. And that's just because social media accounts or the companies, they want you to get that, addiction to their platform.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's been pretty good. Card sales this year were a shit ton better than they were last year.
Great.
A big part of that is I spent $2,000 in Facebook ads between October and December 1st.
They work.
Yeah, that we had never spent before. I hired Stay Fresh Designs. Shout out to Jess Montgomery, photographer there, and Tommy Lincoln. They do amazing work.
Yeah.
Tommy did the labels for our holiday stuff for Good Buddy.
Nice.
Jess did. I hired her to take pictures for the Eat Local card. And so they just did a great job. We hired, I can't think of the name of the kid. We hired another marketing agency to put in a randomizer button on our website for us.
Nice.
So you can't figure out where to eat, go to our website, click a button, we'll give you a suggestion.
Oh, cool.
So we did stuff like that, and card sales shot through the roof. We hit the goal last night. Our goal was to raise $10,000 for the United Way. I think we're going to hit about 4,000. So, which I'm happy with.
That's great.
I wanted to hit 10, but I'm happy with hitting 4.
Might have no COVID. You might have.
The difference would have been that we would have been at events, and we did about $4,000 in sales at events last year. That may have been more this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
We had the press of, as much as I don't, whatever. But we got Syracuse.com wrote an article just 2 weeks ago on Eat Local New York card, and that generated $1,000 in sales.
Yeah, it was a nice article.
It wasn't supposed to be that way. It was supposed to be about the gift card packages that we were doing for Bud, and instead Don just did the whole article on the card, which is great. Mm-hmm. Then News Channel 9 did a Zoom interview with me, same thing on the card. That got a few $100s in sales. So that kind of stuff is really cool. It's amazing how much the local media affects traffic like that.
Just to bring eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that stuff was great. So it's our best year financially for sure. That doesn't mean anything. That's still sub $20,000, but right. In terms of card sales, but that's still our best year yet. It's going to be, I'm going to start paying myself $100 a month in 2021 for the only thing is just, I feel like if I see a page, if I see money coming into as on payroll, I'll be like, oh, this is amazing.
I know a lot of entrepreneur books and whatnot that I've read and articles and master classes, all this stuff. They say one of the biggest mistakes you can make as an entrepreneur is to not pay yourself.
Yeah.
Just something. And I know I'm guilty of it for sure. I still don't take a regular paycheck, just because
you can.
I could, but
is
that money might be better served sitting in the bank or, going towards marketing or, we don't. I recently cut ties with our people that were doing marketing help for us a little bit.
Yeah.
I was hesitant going into it and just wasn't getting out what I needed to get out of it.
Yeah, it's tough.
We do a pretty good job on our own.
Yeah.
So I think we're an extra tough client. Our social media presence is pretty strong.
Yeah.
Just on our own. You know,
Yeah.
we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, you've always been pretty active doing it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I come from the musician background, so you know, that's when your social marketing and social media marketing results directly into the food that you put in your mouth. You tend to learn how to get pretty good at it.
Yeah, sure.
So that guerrilla marketing, you know, I learned on the road in a touring band. So
Right.
A little advantage there. Plus, again, when we were first coming out, we were so different.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was a little bit in our benefit as well. I mean, we still are so different.
Yeah, it was a big deal to have a ramen shop opening up in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the talk of the town and like the food scene, at least, for a while. You know? And yeah, before we took the little intermission, I was gonna
Crack another beer.
Yeah, go for it. I got a bottle opener keychain on there. Yeah, that was a Christmas gift. Thank
New York
you,
Giants won big game this Sunday. You know what I mean?
I was just talking to a restaurant, a client of mine. They were like, "We want to do a Super Bowl party this year. Do you think people will come out for it?" I was like, "If the Bills are in the Super Bowl,
yeah, that's not going to happen."
Yeah, if there's a New York team in the Super Bowl, that's the other thing that drastically affects business around here. One of my longtime clients has been Franco's Pizza and Dolce Vita, and we were at one year. She did a adult for both. They did like the sponsorship up at the Dome, where it's like you get a handful of games a year, and you get your logo on like for the basketball games, you get your logo on like the board. Then you get to go behind like the curtain and have like a table or pass shit out. And so she had done a few games like that. And one of them was Duke game, and it was Duke game when we won.
Oh man, was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, and the difference it makes for local restaurants and bars for the amount of money that they'll make if an SU home team at a home game wins versus loses is insane.
Yeah,
you could go from like 10 people to one of the busiest nights of the year if SU wins at home.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it being out, but for Kasai, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I usually don't like SU nights because if it's home, people are at the game.
Yeah.
They're not coming for ramen. I mean, we do get, a little pregame business.
But you don't get people.
We're not really not so much.
One of the things I loved about Kasai is the being open late on the weekends.
Oh, I miss it.
I never took advantage of it, but I love the fact that it existed.
Yeah, right. Us old folks don't do it. No, I miss it. I don't miss working those hours, the 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. on Fridays. It's tough.
Yeah.
Not that I did every week, but just. It makes scheduling a little difficult.
Yeah.
Because we've always run a pretty tight crew. I mean, when I opened, and one of the many mistakes I made was overstaffing.
Yeah.
I had too many chefs. I had too many cooks. I had too many servers. I had too many managers. I run at about a third of what I used to.
Yeah.
But even then, it was tough to schedule with that 3 o'clock. Close time, but I miss it. I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
Jesse and I were joking around about the other day. I was like, man, remember how we used to bitch about our late night shifts? And now I just wish I could have one. But hopefully.
What do you think is going to happen after the
I don't know.
inauguration?
I don't know.
Everybody's thinking the inauguration, Biden's going to shut the country down. I don't know for sure. I mean, obviously, no one does.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I mean.
Let me ask you this: Are you? You don't have to answer this one, but
I'll answer it.
I'd like it if you did.
Ain't no punk bitch.
What's your? Where do you stand politically? Are you more?
I am a registered Republican.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if we've ever talked politics, but I know my sous chef Jesse will laugh about this, but I'm not shy to talk politics with anyone.
Yeah. I am a I'm independent.
Mm-hmm.
I probably lean more Republican just because I grew up in like a super Christian home, who always voted based off of the abortion issue. Is it good?
Oh, it's good beer.
See, I like it, but it's too sweet.
You gotta get it out of that bottle.
Yeah.
Pour it in that glass.
I
No, so this is the Mackinac Fudge KBS.
Yeah.
So it is going to be a little sweet, but it's sat in a bourbon barrel for a year.
I know not all.
And it's so high in ABV that it really is well balanced. But sitting in the glass, you're just going to get that. So you're just going to get that front note. You're not going to get that full balanced taste sitting in the bottle.
I know it's not supposed to be Guinness, but I sat and had a podcast and had a conversation with David Hoyne for an hour and drank a fucking Guinness with the guy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, if that's not anybody who's part Irish is wet dream, I don't know what is. So I'm a register. I'm an independent, lean Republican just because growing up, the family always voted, you know, if it was, you know, pro-life instead of pro-choice.
Right.
So whenever I go into the voting booth, I always hear like our old Kentucky pastor from when I was like 10. I always hear like him telling me like, vote right, you know. But I vote libertarian pretty much through and through. But I'm not opposed to any party. I think it's more about the candidate than it is about the party, right?
Same.
You know, obviously, unfortunately, we live in a country where it's just a two-party system, and you know, at least for the time being, it's going to be that way for the foreseeable future, unless something drastic happens.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, financially though, I definitely lean Republican.
Yeah.
And I think that these stimulus packages are probably some of the worst things that could happen to us as a country because, A, it's strapping future generations with paying down that debt, where America's, you know, over like $2.8 trillion in debt.
It's over 3 now.
Okay, so at the beginning of COVID, they just called the Fed and printed money. God only knows where this, however many billions of dollars that just got passed, right, where that money is coming from.
Yeah.
But I know we didn't have it.
And they're looking for more.
Yeah. $600 stimulus check. You know, I haven't gotten mine, but I have a friend at work who got his this morning.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty much, if you're doing electronically, it'll be done by Monday.
Yeah. In the short term, in terms of local business, local restaurants, I'm like, okay, people are going to go out and spend money. Like maybe they're going to go spend more money. I'd like to think in my head, I'm thinking that like a lot of these local restaurants are suffering so much right now because people are afraid from the surge. They don't have as much money as they once did, especially in the beginning during quarantine when they were getting $600 a week if they were on unemployment. And there's more open. In quarantine, there was so much shut down that really what we're going to spend your money on.
Right.
Once quarantine was lifted, I have friends that work in furniture stores. It was
gangbusters.
People that work, friends that work at car dealerships, same thing. You couldn't find a new car if you wanted to. People were spending money like crazy. They haven't been over the past 2 months. Now, having said that, and you made a Facebook post about this, like the day that orange restrictions went into place, I go to Target and there's a fucking shit ton of people there buying stuff. Same at Walmart, right? Yeah. Like there are still people going out there and spending a shit ton of money in other places.
You mentioned that post. I got the call saying that we were going to be in orange zone as I was shopping at Target. I mean, I forget what I was there for.
Who called you?
A member of Mayor Walsh's team. You know, I've been working hand in hand with them since beginning of shutdown on weekends on Walton. I was, you know, highly involved in that because I had experience with it being in Philadelphia. It's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Shutting down streets and having a party. Basically what it is. So that I was let known earlier in the day that they didn't 13202 was not, you know, I called and was like, what is this? You got to be kidding me.
Where is that zip code, by the way?
Downtown.
It is, okay.
Yeah. So they're like, no, you're not, you know, the initial map came through. It doesn't look like you're going to be included. It's great. You know, stinks for anybody that is. I don't want anybody to be in the orange zone, but, you know, selfishly, like, good, you know, great Shouldn't be.
Right.
You know, but then they called me, and my son and I were at Target, and they're like, yeah, he included it. I'm like, why? Why is this happening? And I'm looking around, and there's 15 people on each line and hundreds of people. I mean, look, I'm not saying anything new that hasn't been said. All across this country, in any blue-run state or city that is dealing with these problems, it's just simply put bullshit. You know, it doesn't make any sense that you can go into Wegmans, shop in a line where somebody just put their hands all over an apple and this and that, or shoulder to shoulder, Lowe's, Home Depot, any of them. It's just all bullshit. And not to mention, let's talk about the food court.
Yeah.
Who is in 13202. They are not supposed to be open, right?
Right.
No food service. Because they're so worried about taking the mask off. That's the problem. You know, take the mask off. And, that's what we keep hearing. Oh, well, you take your mask off to eat.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing it at the food court with no regulations. They're sitting right next to each other. None of the tables are roped off. There's no social distancing. There's none of it.
Yeah.
What about the Salt City Market? Opens this month, right?
Yeah, now they're supposed to be takeout only. The vendors are getting prepared for takeout only.
Right, which is fine. I'm not, again, we don't want to hurt the vendors. We want them to be open.
Right.
Again, it's drawing more people downtown.
Right.
But, okay, takeout only, but you're still going into the building to shop.
Yeah. They're still, I was in there.
Are they really going to police that?
Yeah, I was in there yesterday.
Who's coming? When we were open before we got put in orange zone, we had the the SLA coming in every 2 minutes to check each one of our restaurants downtown, make sure we weren't overstaffed or overstuffing our seats and not over capacity, and everybody wearing a mask, and there weren't people sitting at the bar. There was, food on every check, which is great.
Yeah,
but it's not consistent, and that's what's driving us crazy.
Yeah,
it's not. None of it makes any sense, nor is it consistent.
So, what can people who want to support local? And by that, I mean not just customers, but other business owners, restaurant owners, community activists, let's call them.
Mm-hmm.
What can they do, in your opinion, to help local restaurants right now? Or help, let me rephrase that. What can they do to help the city of Syracuse right now?
I think that's a loaded question. I think number one is support the restaurants that can't have people in the dining room right now. Number one. Takeout, gift cards. Something that's really been helping Kasai is caterings.
Yeah.
So 35, 40 people for lunch is huge.
Yeah.
That's almost replacing what, a normal service.
Right.
So, we've done pretty much 1 or 2 a week of those, and that's been really, really helpful. 100 lunches can make a week.
Yeah.
So, to replace some of these revenues that we're losing. On top of that, once we do get open, don't be afraid to come downtown where you're not more dangerous than it is in North Syracuse. It's just, there's no evidence to this. There's no, and, we're going to be putting out numbers here in the near future and hopefully a media campaign with some help of government and officials and whatnot. But, just showing that it's not, just like when we did put the U back in Syracuse. It's not any different than North Syracuse, Fayetteville, DeWitt. We're not more dangerous. We're not acting carelessly. We're not just flying by the seat of our pants. The SLA was inspecting us every night. Mm-hmm. Like every night we're open, here comes SLA. And it's fine. Come and inspect me. It's fine. I'm taking it seriously. We are taking everybody's health seriously. We're taking COVID seriously. We're just asking you not to close our business. Let us earn a living. Let us earn a living for our employees. Let us help the retailers that are surrounding us downtown. I know there were a couple places who weren't pleased with one place that wasn't pleased with the shutting down of Walton Street. I would love to see the numbers between, the couple extra 1,000 people who are coming down for weekends on Walton's hanging out, listening to music, eating wonderful food,
Yeah.
and shopping locally because we saw the bags at our tables compared to now when it's just a ghost town down there. I mean, it looks like I Am Legend in downtown, and it's really disgusting.
And right now it is. I mean, I was joking around that day like a month ago when I stopped down to pick up lunch. There was a fucking dude walking up to people in their cars, like that were sitting in their car parked on the street, like banging on the window with his fist, asking for money. Which the homeless population has existed in downtown Syracuse forever, right?
Yeah,
but it's grown astronomically since all of this, and it's gotten more aggressive. I mean, Jesse was saying, he was like, there was a dude, walking by me when I was there picking lunch. He told me the story of the dude that like looked him square in the fucking eyes and then like threw a bottle on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, shit has gotten real, and it's going to take a lot more to really get things back to the way that they were.
Well, there's just, speak to that. I mean, whenever you're in a city, you're going to have, unfortunately, the homeless and the beggars and that. And, I think our city does a pretty good job at it. Again, I'm coming from Philadelphia, so I see people complain about what it is here, and I'm like, you guys are fucked. What are you complaining about? You're so lucky, you can't imagine the shit I've seen.
I used to live in Austin, man. I've seen the shit.
So you get it. I mean, it's just hear people complain about parking up here. It makes you want to just
I'm fortunate.
I don't go downtown because there's no parking. There's 5 friggin' lots around my restaurant. 5. It used to take me 45 minutes to find a parking spot to coming home from work on a freaking Monday.
Yeah.
Not even talking about the weekends in Philadelphia. And then if you want to get a lot, it's a couple $100 a month, not 40. You know what I mean? Most of my employees pay $40 a month to park within 2 minutes of walking to the restaurant.
That's amazing.
It's unreal. Yeah. We have it so good. We do. We have it so good. Yeah. And now, especially with the momentum that the restaurant scene was building, I don't know. It's scary moving forward.
Yeah.
But I think we can do it. The homeless problem right now maybe, or earlier in the shutdowns might have been elevated. I don't see it right now because I think the cold weather's set in and it's gone. But I think a cause and effect thing is our police had to cut funding because there's no sales tax coming in because our restaurants are shut down. So retail's making less money if they're even staying open.
Right.
Restaurants aren't making any money or less if they're staying open. So the city's not making much money. So it's a trickle-down effect. People talk about trickle-down economics. Well, here's a freaking one for for knee-jerk reaction shutdowns. Okay, you shut us down. We're making less money, so you have less money for your police force. So our police force isn't doing as many patrols around our area. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
More crime. There hasn't been more crime. I can't really speak to the numbers, but it hasn't seemed like there's been an uptick downtown.
My house was broken into twice.
Well, yeah, you're in North Side. Yeah. I live in the North Side too. I'm right down the street from you. So, I mean, the other night, the other morning, I woke up to the tonneau cover of my pickup truck being like up over the bed of my truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't really even know how they did that. That was a talented one because my truck was locked, so I don't know how, and there was nothing to take. But anywho, just to the homeless and the people, the hobo problem, or I don't even know what the right word is nowadays.
It's definitely not
the definitely hobo not
problem.
Hobo. I don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. We're drinking 12% beer. I don't care. Not the hobo problem. I think when we were open, let's say for weekends on Walton, when they saw that, when they saw the streets being open and no cars and very little police presence, it got to be a problem. But you know what we did? A few of us got on the phone with the mayor's office, the police, and it was done.
Yeah.
A couple days, and it was controlled. But right now, the police has no reason to be downtown. There's nobody. There's nobody down there.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be there. Why would they patrol? I mean, we still see the cars go by and whatnot, but I mean,
yeah.
If there's no activity, there's no activity, and that goes all the different ways.
the homeless problem is, like maybe last year, I think it was last year, we went to the Brew Fest at the Palace, or at the Landmark.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, and a group of friends, and, we left. It was over. We were all hammered. We're walking downtown to go get a drink. We walked to Kasai first, and
gotta get that chicken sando.
Yeah, and we walked by this one homeless dude who I see downtown like every time I'm down there, and he was standing on like a weird corner asking for money. And in my head, as I'm like half drunk, I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna make this guy's week, and I gave him like a $50 bill, and just kept walking. Like literally, as we walked past, I just handed it to him. And we kept walking to Kasai. We wound up leaving Kasai because you guys were slammed, and so we wound up going to like one of the shitty hole in the wall bars right up the street. And we walked right past that guy like 6 minutes later, and he was still asking for money. And literally at that point, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing it anymore." And then yesterday, I was driving down. I drive past this corner here at Fayette all the time, and there's like 6 or 7 of them, it seems like, a day that hang out on like that 4 corners right there. There was this kid. He looked like he like 19, 20 years old. Yesterday it was cold. Wind was blowing in the afternoon, and he's standing out there in the corner with no mask. Typically, I see him wearing a mask. This kid has no mask. He's got like his jacket pulled down over his hands because he's cold, holding the sign, and it's like the 2 lanes, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just, I like make eye contact with the kid, and he can tell that no one's going to give him money or give him anything, and he just started crying, and that bothered me. Yeah. That I was like, oh fuck. It's like, what do I do now? Do I give him money? Is this an act? Like, what do I do? I've been involved with like homeless outreach in the past.
Yeah.
Years ago and stuff, and and I've met a lot of these guys and talked to them, and most of them are just out there doing their thing. They can make enough money to buy a pack of cigarettes and a 6-pack of beer. They're fine. They're back to their camp, and for a lot of them, that's just what they want to do with their lives. But it does, even aside from yesterday, it feels like it's gotten a fuck ton worse downtown.
Yeah, I don't know about worse. I don't know if better is either, really. Honestly, probably selfishly, I've been involved in my own problems.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Not like, I've also seen that kid that you're talking about crying. I've also seen him drop bags of drugs in front of our restaurant. So, Jesse threw out a bag of Spike that he dropped. I've seen them smoking up or doing whatever they do on the corner there. So the sympathy factor goes down. But we do a lot. In donating food and resources. We just ran a toy drive even during lockdown. Well, our lockdown. Yeah. I shouldn't say lockdown as a whole because it's not everybody right now. But when we were in our orange zone lockdown, we did a toy drive for, less fortunate kids. We have always helped out with the mission and Red Cross, and I believe we really should help. I don't know if it's gotten worse. I can't really speak to that. I think during the summer I saw a little uptick, but I think our police force does a great job, and the city does a great job of trying to contain it and not just come down with a lead hammer, but really try and help these people, because whether it's your personal choice or it's an addiction or, we shouldn't look down on these people and consider it a problem. While it is a problem, I think we should focus, instead of saying it's a problem, is trying to come up with a solution. But that just might be me as a chef. Here's a problem. Where how the hell do we just fix that?
Right.
Because I think that's what that profession does for you. I've seen a lot of people call themselves chefs, but they can't overcome a simple problem. And it's that's just one part of the job, let alone the administrative part of the job, which is, I think, really what defines it. But yeah, 2 would be your administrative duties. Separate you from a line cook or a sous chef from an executive chef or this or that, but just problem solving. Do you have to call somebody when a problem arises? Do you have to call somebody to figure out that problem, or can you figure it out yourself?
You kind of go into, when you get, like, when you guys are slammed, let's go back in time. Imagine a world.
Why are we still here? Why is my restaurant still closed?
Imagine you live in a world where you're open for dine-in. People don't have to wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got 30 tables, let's say. So you're slammed.
30, dude. We seat 150.
Well, there's no 4-person restriction, so, you know.
Yeah.
So you can, maybe there's, those 30 tables have 6 people in each one. But you're slammed. Do you kind of just go into, like, mentally that zone of, like, it's just problem solving? It's like tick, 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 tick.
Oh,
tick,
yeah,
tick.
there's no panic. I mean, there's just, me personally, there's no, like, oh, shit, and that's why I try and train everybody from my maitre d', Britt, who, like, kind of is, like, my floor general. She's been with us since day one. Mitch and Danny, you can have these moments where you, like, start to get, like, angry or upset, and I really try and just be the stopper of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the executive chef's job, and of GM and owner, which I kind of wear I wear all those hats.
Yeah.
For us.
Are you trying to be, like, in the midst of a rush and something pops up? Are you, like, the music goes out, right?
You got to have the answer.
But
there's no, like,
what do
I do, this or that?
You trying to be the, hey, everything's fine, let's just figure out the answer? Or are you like, no, go do this and get it done?
Oh, yeah, just get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no...
Do you have a hard time switching that off when you get home with your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I struggle with all of it. I mean, none of us are perfect, and I'm far from it.
I ask because
Yeah. I certainly struggle with that. Yeah, and you might want to have a podcast with some of the wives of our
that's a good
restaurant
idea.
owners. Hey,
that's a really good idea.
I still want to do our noodles and talk. Nudes and brews.
Yeah,
chef talk one. I think that's a brilliant one too. But I struggle with that. Even now during lockdown, I find myself. My wife will be like, "Hey, kind of way you're talking to me right now," and I'm just like, "Oh shit, sorry." and you get into that, like, at work. I'm like a general. I'm not screaming and yelling all the time, unless it's ultra uber necessary. And I've gotten better with that. I think that's been one of my main targets to improve as an owner now, not just a chef, is temper and tone.
Yeah.
The double T's. Watch the temper and try and watch the tone. I've been guilty of sometimes coming off a little cold or just brutal. To not as what I'm saying, but just here's what you have to do, get it fucking done. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's just not a good way to be a leader. So just improving on being a leader is a big focus of mine always.
Yeah.
At Kasai, we have a saying, just be better. And I'm constantly saying that. That's our company motto.
Yeah.
Is our people always talk about their why am I drawing a brain fart? Not motto, but culture. Company culture. What's your company culture? My company culture is don't be okay with mediocrity. Be better.
Yeah.
Just at all costs, be better. So that's, you ask, would my wife say it? Yeah, sometimes I get a little quick. Sometimes I talk to her like maybe she's an employee, which, it's hard sometimes to snap out of that mode. When you work a ton of hours and, it's hard to shut that off, sometimes.
That's good. Yeah.
You ask a question and you get annoyed. And she's like, I just asked you a question. I was like, yeah, you're right. But I mean, in a course of a day, I'm asked probably thousands of questions.
Yeah.
And sometimes that one question is just enough.
I used to be a stage manager at a mega church in Texas, and I learned that there, which is if we have a 45-minute, play, right? Mm-hmm. That's going on, and something might need to be changed like that quickly. It doesn't matter what go get it the fuck done now, right? Yeah. And I find myself like, it's like today I had, can't leave work too early, right? Had to go pick up gift cards at a restaurant, get back here, set up the cameras for this podcast. Mm-hmm. meet some dude who refuses to buy an Eat Local card online. So of course he has to do it in person because he doesn't trust Apple Pay. So I have to like make sure I'm going to meet him right at the right time to give him his card to get his, and then you're coming, so, and I was just like, I'll go home and I have not figured out the magic thing of how to, before I open the door, like chill.
Oh, don't talk to me like I figured it out.
Yeah, no, I know you haven't figured it out.
I'm so far. I've gotten better.
You got to be like 60 and have a lot more gray hair to have figured it out.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know what the key is. I mean, like I said, my daily focus is to be a better father, be a better husband, be a better chef, be a better restaurant owner. Listen, and I'm only a restaurant owner for 2.5 years at this point.
Yeah.
I suck. I beat myself. I can't sleep at night, and it's not because of COVID.
Right.
I can't control that. I can't control what, Andy's doing to us. I can't control, whether my restaurant could be open right now. So I'm trying to take that time to be better.
Yeah.
And it's something I learned at working for Guitar Center. And I got pretty high up the chain. Locally at Guitar Center, I became a store manager, the youngest assistant store manager in company history. I set sales goals that still are in that company. I know they're going through their troubles now, which really saddens me.
Yeah.
Because deep down, it's a big corporation, but they have really, really good core values.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm trying to build with Kasai, as you know. We're going to be opening more restaurants here in the near future. Hopefully, as long as everything goes according to plan. And I'm going to keep building Mastro Restaurant Group. We're gonna really keep growing. Hopefully, here, as long as our industry isn't destroyed by these restrictions and this pandemic, which I think we're a resilient group. We'll be able to survive. Hopefully, it's all of us. It might not be. You never know what can happen. I might not survive, but it's not. I'm not going to let it stop me. And it's just I think we as people, if we just focus on being a better person in all aspects of our lives, things just will work out better. There's not ever going to be like, hey, you're open, here's the magic wand. I mean, us getting open brings a whole nother set of problems.
Yeah.
Our costs are going to go up with food. Our payroll costs are going to go up. Our electric costs are going to go up. All of our cost of doing business is going to go up. Will the customers come back?
Yeah. And then you have to worry about how are you going to get them.
We're just dealing with, 4 months of fear-mongering. Don't go downtown. Yeah. That's the orange zone.
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
And who knows what's going to happen with the vaccine.
Kasai served 10,000 people in the last 4 months, and there have been 0 cases.
Right. Yeah. All right. To shift gears.
Let's do the shift.
Even though this could be a good place to end the conversation.
We won't, because we still have beer.
I want to ask you this question on camera. So I don't know anything about anything, and I've said that plenty of times in the podcast. So anyone who's an active listener, first of all, thank you. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you. And second of all,
gracias.
You've heard this before. But I know nothing about nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know shit about shit.
Except for cameras, microphones, podcasts, marketing. Right.
But having said that, recessions in America are supposed to happen.
Trying to rope me into politics again, aren't you?
No, this is going to be, all right. Recessions are supposed to happen every 8 years.
It's just a check.
Throughout American history, throughout American economic history, since the Great Depression, an economic recession has happened every 8 years, except
inflation.
Except for 2 times. They happened every 12 years. The first time that happened was in 2008 with the housing bubble, all right, housing market crisis. The second time was leading into 2020. Now we're approaching 13 years since the last recession. The economy, technically the stock market, today, even though we had a massive fallout back in May,
still doing well.
Today, it's doing better than,
setting records.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I'm making money.
Right, thank you. I pulled my money out of my retirement account on the worst day of the market this year, and I haven't put it back in.
Dope.
Anyways, recessions obviously are necessary. And if anything, if not just for economic things to kind of point out flaws in different areas of the economy, it's like evolution, right? It shows its weaknesses and then that dies off and we build something else. I think it also has to happen for like local business and local economy. Like things can't always be good. And granted, right now, things are far from good when we're looking, especially in the restaurant industry and especially in local business. And we've had a shit ton of restaurants close permanently or temporarily in Central New York and Onondaga County. Was that glass?
There was something in my kombucha.
I mean, I've said before, we've had 18 that have been on the card.
Yeah.
In 2020 that have closed this year.
That's brutal.
Not all of them permanently, but half of them at least. In my opinion, that has to happen. Like, I have this I shouldn't say in my opinion. I have this feeling that in order for the next Kasai, and I don't mean like another ramen shop, but I mean like another restaurant that is different than what's existed in Syracuse ever before, like Kasai, in order for that other restaurant to pop up, for there to be some new creative outlet or food or cuisine or whatever, some new creative way to run a restaurant, in order for that to come in, we have to have somebody go out. It's not because like all the spaces are taken up right now. Just like you have to like have those cycles, right?
Right. Natural evolution.
And I don't think we're going to get there unless a shit ton more places close. Like, I don't think we can just keep bailing people out, which I know is partially necessary. But I don't think we can keep expecting grants from the city, which, by the way, are going to some restaurants and businesses that shouldn't be getting them. We can't expect, like, another round of 5, like... I'm going to take this off camera, off the air.
All right.
Back on air. We can't just keep bailing people out. And it's devastating.
I agree.
And I could not imagine.
And again, this ties into you asked me where I stood politically, and I said I'm a registered Republican. I haven't always been a Republican. It's not a new thing. I've been a registered Republican for over 10 years now. I was a Democrat, which I've always leaned more centrist, libertarian, especially when I was, registered Democrat, or I leaned more left. Not to get into too many political things, but just as economics go, the handouts, I severely disagree with them, which is weird because one of the things that I'm bringing to the restaurant coalition now, I call it the Syracuse Restaurant Group, whatever we want to call ourselves, the group fighting to get back into the yellow zone, which seems weird to say, but just to let us open, please. One of the things that I am fighting for that I brought to the group who they weren't thinking is everybody's spending their energy on let us open. Yes, we need to open, but we need some help beyond that because you've done some real serious damage to our business. You've made people think that it's not safe to come downtown or down. It's not even specific to Syracuse downtown. You made people think that it's not safe to go out to eat, and it's not the truth.
Yeah,
it's not safe to have your 6 buddies come over and God only knows where they've been and come over to your house, no mask, no social distancing, no sanitation processes.
Yeah,
that's what's proven. We keep hearing say let's talk about the numbers and data and all that. That's not safe, and that's happening more now because you can't come to Kasai as 6 of your buddies and have a safe meal. You can't go to a pizza with your extended family and have a awesome pizza and some cool ass wine and beers and stuff like that. You can't come to Kasai and get the other half beer that you can't get anywhere else in the city, or that KBS espresso stout that I saved from 2018, which now I'm not going to be able to release again because God only knows when we're going to open. But anywho, it's going to be really good ones to do. I don't want handouts, but I don't want the government closing my business either. Right. And my brother is a hardcore left. And I wouldn't say I'm hardcore anything. Yeah. I care selfishly, I care about what affects me and my family and my business. And that's what I put my energy into, is making sure that my son has something to not struggle with later in life, or to provide him things my parents did very well for me. I want to do even better for my son. That's my life goal now. I want to build a business that he can hopefully take over one day if he wants to. If he doesn't, then I pass it on to somebody else. I want to make sure that my family is comfortable and well taken care of. So that's where my political focus is, I guess. And that just happens to be a lot more Republican right now. Doesn't mean I'm not a blind follower. I don't blind follow anything.
Right.
But I think to tie it back in is where we need to get back to is just, it's not, I don't know, man. It's such a heavy question. I'm trying not to get emotional. It's just, you have to.
I mean, beyond anything, the way that things have been handled in New York State, whether it was a Republican or a Democrat holding the position.
Yeah.
The way that things have been handled in New York State, especially recently, are doing more harm than good.
Right. I guess what I'm trying to say is whatever your political beliefs are, and to tie it to me personally, I don't want handouts.
Yeah.
I didn't take the EIDL or the PPP until months after they were available. I tried to say, fuck you, you're going to shut me down. I'm still going to make this work, because that's what I've done since the beginning of Kasai.
Yeah.
I mean, I had all sorts of funding issues. Kasai should not still be open. Let's just put it that way. With the money problems that we had in the beginning, we had investors try and hose us for more equity. I told them to fuck off. We had banks not even say, no, we're not going to look at you. Say, you have to jump through all these hoops for us, and then we're going to string you along for 6 months while you're still opening, and just all the negative stuff that I went through with dealing with the local banks, national banks and local banks, and just, that's a whole nother podcast. But, just no support, Kasai should not still be open.
Yeah.
But, I don't want handouts. I want people not to tell me that my business can't operate as it should be in America.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have people. This happens in socialist and communist and fascist countries. We shouldn't have government, local, state, or federal, telling us we can't go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. Let people, what, if you don't feel safe coming into Kasai or going to a Pizza or coming in for a beer at Kitty's or going for a beer at Tusk or any of these places, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
That's good on you. But I feel comfortable.
Right.
I'd love to get a beer with my staff after safely.
Dude, I fucking loved going down to 3 Lives before November and going in there at like 10 o'clock at night. I'd be down here working late and then go over there and get a burger and a beer. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And it's really, really sad to think that they may not open back up. So, all right.
What's sad about it, not to cut you off, it's nothing that they did.
No. I mean, listen,
So we're losing all these restaurants. Sure, we lost the mission. Okay, he wanted to close this and that, but not like this.
No, not like
and somebody
this.
else could have carried that along.
And you have
another investor could have said, "Don't close. Here's a couple hundo to get you through the next couple of years. Don't close. Keep it open." And who knows? I don't want to speak for Steve. Yeah. He knows what he's doing. He might have known it was his time. But regardless, that restaurant shouldn't be closed.
And I don't know. I mean, listen, our business has such a small cost to Eat Local. I mean, our true cost of an Eat Local card after marketing and stamp and all that kind of shit.
Say this off record.
Is about like $16.
Yeah.
Even though the card itself costs us like $1.
Right.
By the time that we go through all the
marketing,
other steps, it's a lot.
All your cost, yeah.
And then after we make a $5 donation to the United Way, which we're thrilled to do.
It's awesome.
Nobody's getting paid here except for, one person, and her job is to connect with all the restaurants, right? Mm-hmm. So our operating costs are nothing. And we've got some stuff in that I'm trying to do outside of Eat Local, and that involves looking at rent costs for different potential spots, and to find out the rent that some of these restaurants have been and are paying. I'm like, how in the fuck are they making it work? Like, how can
I mean, because we live in an awesome city where people are supporting and want to have a downtown thriving place or Westcott or
you're not getting rich off of this.
I mean, most of us know.
And
I mean,
in the best of times, you're not walking away at the end of the year.
And look, everybody knows margins in restaurants are razor thin.
Right.
I mean, unless you're doing some really, really outside of the box stuff and not just food.
Right.
I mean, labor,
which is about to increase.
Right. Which won't affect me personally. We pay above that.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, it's just when we find one of the lessons I've learned is that with payroll, it's the biggest cost, hands down. So if I'm going to be paying somebody potentially out of money that is in the pot, right? So I want to make every dollar count to get people that will stay, to not have some turnover. You got to take care of them. You can't. I mean, it's just not. I mean, you can't. I mean, I think about when I was coming up. All right, so I already had my first sous chef position in Philadelphia. So I was making a nice yearly salary. I mean, I wasn't rich by any means, but I was able to survive comfortably. I took another job at a restaurant on my off days so that I could learn from this award-winning chef. Do you know what my hourly pay was? $8.75 an hour. They told me it was going to be off the books. It wasn't. I still stayed. I stayed for 3 months. The cokehead sous chef had a temper tantrum with me, and I left after that. We'll just put it, that's not all I did. But he got up in my face one night and screaming and yelling, blood and coke coming out of his nose, and I put him in his place. I'll just put it that way. But I didn't have a job there after that, whether I wanted to or not, probably. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't give him the option. But those days are done. Yeah. I mean, you can't pay a dishwasher or a utility person or anybody $11.50 an hour. I mean, what do you? Right. I want quality people who I don't want the dishwasher to stay a dishwasher.
Yeah.
I want the dishwasher to turn into my porter. The porter turns into a prep cook. Prep cook turns into a line cook. Line cook can find a chef position, hopefully one day, and then a chef can become an executive chef. I mean, that's how I came up. I started 12 years old as a busboy. That was my first job. 12 years old in a fine dining Italian restaurant and pizzeria. I want to have Kasai and future restaurants to provide opportunities to people, not to keep them locked down. Which I think is maybe a discussion for another day as to all the benefits that a restaurant can provide. You don't have to have a college degree, and you can end up like me. I left college, not saying that I'm in a great position right now because I can't even have my business open, but, I own a restaurant, and I'm hopefully going to own a couple more here real soon, and really provide a nice life for my family. You can do that without being a high school graduate or a college graduate, as long as you want to be better every day. Yeah. So I think that our restaurant's open.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, Kyle, thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Appreciate it.
You ended up drinking that whole thing, huh?
I know.
It's not bad, right? It's a good beer, you know what I mean? It's a good beer.
I gotta go home and make dinner for my wife.
Me too. What are you making?
We're making, we have a couple New York strips, nothing special.
And boy.
And then just shrimp, but I do this essentially a stick of butter and Cajun seasoning and a cast iron skillet.
Cast iron is the truth, brother.
Some mashed potatoes with some smoked blue cheese in there.
I've got some beautiful sourdough bread that's been fermenting for 18 hours now.
Nice.
Proofing for about 5 hours now. I'm going to do a little sous vide filet.
I'll tell you what, we're going to cook at Gerhardt's next week off camera.
What's that?
I'll tell you off camera.
All right. And then I've got a little sous vide lobster tail.
Everybody listening, go order takeout from Kasai. You can find them on delivery apps, but if you care about humans.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Oh, you got off them?
I got off them like a year ago, brother.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
actually,
that.
Right during shutdown, I made the tough call,
Good for you.
Because I mean, we were looking at with Grubhub, it was coming into like 50 to 60% once the marketing fees and all that come in, and you're not making any money at that point. And you know, back when the restaurant was open, you can justify it like, all right, you're keeping the kitchen busy and this and that. But when the kitchen is just Jesse and I don't give a fuck. Yeah. You know, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So don't find them on delivery
We're still
apps.
not on delivery apps. No, but you can go to kasairamen.com, and we use a service who does not charge us any commissions. Our menu is updated daily, so you can see, you know, how we pivot. We teamed up with Madison Wagyu, locally out of Cazenovia. So we're featuring their beef products exclusively now. So we have our Wagyu smash burger that we're doing. We have some awesome cheesesteaks that we're using, shaved Wagyu and a prime mix. It's really pretty awesome. I eat about 2 a day, maybe. No.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.